Welcome to blackfilm.com. I'm Ellen, and I'm talking with Dallas Jackson about his new action film, Welcome to Sudden Death. How are you, Dallas?
I'm very well. Just taking everything day by day. We got a little homeschooling thing going on over here, so I'm a few minutes late to the interview, but I made it.
That's okay.
Movie comes out tomorrow, or I don't know when this will air, but right now the movie is dropping tomorrow, so we're getting ready for that as well.
So yeah, this is going to air today, just on time for tomorrow.
Okay, very nice.
I can imagine how excited you are that, it's dropping tomorrow. Every action Mortal Kombat fan is a little geeked up to see this movie. I was reading some of the comments from the trailer, and there are a lot of people that are looking forward to this. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's interesting. There are a lot of people who are hungry for some action content. There are a lot of people who are big Michael Jai White fans. There are a lot of people who really just nostalgic-wise have loved this movie. And then there's people who just never saw the original,
right.
Have responded really positively to the trailer and the kind of snippets that Universal has released online. There's a lot of digital promotion going on with the movie. So yeah, I'm excited. I took on the assignment because I thought it'd just be fun, and you never know what these things will turn into.
And, so that's a great segue, because my first question, was you wrote and directed this film. How, what was the inspiration behind this outside of, it's sort of a remake, but what's your connection to that genre of film?
Well, I'm a huge martial arts fan, going back to Bruce Lee and the Kid with the Golden Arm and all these old, like, kind of Saturday morning kung fu theater movies, Five Fingers of Death, all that stuff. So, there's kind of three genres that I really love, which is action, sci-fi, and horror. My first movie I directed was a thriller horror movie called Thriller from Blumhouse. And I wanted to step into the action realm next. And this movie came to me because I was developing a remake of this movie at Columbia Pictures called The Last Dragon. If you remember The Last Dragon,
right.
Sho'nuff and Bruce Leroy. And the script I had wrote for that had got a lot of attention. And we were on the verge of getting that movie made, and there was some regime change that happened at Sony, and we weren't able to get it going a few years back. But the script kind of made its rounds. The script made its rounds over to Blumhouse, which is how they got into business with me on Thriller. And the script made its rounds over to Universal, and they responded really strongly to my take on what I would do with The Last Dragon, and asked if I'd be interested in maybe rebooting or reimagining the original Sudden Death, which was basically like, it was like a version of Die Hard. And, Die Hard's like one of my favorite movies. And I always loved Van Damme. I always loved Seagal and that kind of 90s era of action. But you never got to see it with a brother, with someone, African-American in the lead, doing martial arts and kind of kicking ass and saving the day. So I told Universal I'd be interested if I could do that with a brother in the center. And they were like, yeah, go for it. So they hired me to write the movie. And like I said, I just had fun with it. Kind of imagine myself as, it's basically about a father who is just going to work on his 9 to 5. And in the process of being a security guard at this arena, it's taken over by some very smart terrorists who kind of hijack it using technology. And in the process, his daughter, the security guard's daughter, gets caught up and taken hostage by these terrorists. And it's really just about a father trying to get his daughter back. and in the process saving everybody, saving the whole day. And you just don't get to see that very much with us. So
Right.
once that happened, they let me go, kind of make my version of the script, write my version of the script. I wasn't even thinking of directing it. That blessing came after they were happy with the script.
Well, that's a good sign then. Did you always know that Michael Jai White would be your lead? Was that like a natural thing?
It wasn't the first, like, when I was writing it, I was just keeping my mind open of like, I was just thinking of this character. And I hadn't thought of anybody in particular of like who this person was going to be. And John Singleton was a good friend of mine, and rest in power, John. We worked together on a show on BET called Rebel, which was kind of like our 2017 take on Foxy Brown and Coffee and some other things. And he was like, "Man, you got to get Michael Jai White for your sudden death." And I always listen to John. And so I was like, "Oh, that makes a lot of sense." And he and I had talked about the fact that Michael was like one of the few real martial artists, and some people don't know, like, he's a real martial artist. And so once Singleton had planted that seed in my mind, then that was my guy. And so I just had to go make that fruition. I had to make it happen. And luckily, I went to Howard with his wife, Gillian White. And so I asked her if she would make the introduction to Michael, and we sat down and had breakfast, and I gave him the script, and things moved forward from there.
I mean, speaking of Gillian, I loved that there was a Black female action role in this, and I think she did such a great job. How did her part? How did her having a part in this kind of come together?
Well, she was like, if I introduce you to Mike, you got to look out for me. But then, look, I've known Gillian for a long time. I've watched her grow as a actress, and she's obviously married to one of the best action guys in the game. I mean, Michael Jai White is international. I mean,
Yeah.
people love him around the world. So, I mean, she's soaking up everything from him, and they're training together. And so she said, "Look, I'd love to have a part in this." And I said, "I'd love to have you in it." And we talked about 2 roles in the movie, but she said, "No, I want to be one of the bad guys. I want to kick a little ass." And just so happens the character she picked actually fights Michael, and we talked about that. And there had never been a husband and wife that we could think of that actually fought each other on screen that were actually husband and wife in real life. So we thought that was cool. But she earned that part because she's just ready. And she showed me a reel of like all the fighting and action stuff she's been doing. And it turned out great. She's fantastic. And she had a lot of fun with that. Man, we had a lot of fun shooting her stuff, especially the fight scene with her and Michael is fantastic.
Speaking of fight scenes, I mean, that had to be, one of my favorite things about this film. They were epic. What was that preparation process like? How long did it take everybody to kind of, get it together and, come across the way they did?
Yeah. So our fight choreographer is a very talented, kind of world-renowned guy now named Larnell Stovall. And Larnell comes from a fight camp company called 8711. And 8711 did all the fight stuff for the Raid movies, the Raid 1 and 2, which is just like gritty action martial art movies that have gotten this big cult following now. 8711 does all like the action design for the Marvel movies. And Larnell is a big part of that. And he's one of the only brothers over there. Mm-hmm. So him and Michael Jai had worked together. Larnell had done some stuff for Singleton and I on our show Rebel. So I'd asked him to design and choreograph the fight scenes for this movie. which he stepped up in such a big and incredible way. And so the way those fights are done is Larnell and his team design the fights. They put them on video. Each scene, each fight, they choreograph each fight, and then they put it on video the way that the actors will interpret them. Okay. And then we do a 2-week fight camp, which is before production. All of the actors that are in the scenes and the stunt people that are in the scenes rehearse the fights, including like Gillian and everyone that's involved. They'll rehearse those fights. And so once we get to set and we're on that particular day, like for example, when Gillian and Michael fought, they were already prepared. It's like a dance. Fighting movies are like a dance movie. It's about knowing your moves, knowing your partner's moves, and making those moves real for the camera, and picking which camera angle works for different hits, so that if I'm turned this way and there's a camera here, this hit might work better as opposed to this angle. So all of that is a preparation that takes about 8 weeks for Larnell to get all of his fight stuff together and for the actors to learn it. And you're doing that, so once you get to set, you're not wasting time learning the fight. You already know it, and we're just capturing it as we continue to shoot it.
Wow. Okay. Well, that certainly came across very well. I think that, like I said, that was one of my favorite parts of this movie, with the fight scenes. In addition to that, the comedy was also something that I enjoyed. So while you were writing this, was adding comedy to this something that you knew you wanted to do early on, or did that kind of come across later?
Well, I love hardcore action movies, but I love action comedies. Like, I just like to have fun. Lethal Weapon to me is like one of my favorite movies, and there's so much comedy and heart in that movie, with Mel Gibson and Danny Glover. Rush Hour, there's so much fun in that movie with Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan. And I wanted to kind of create that with Gary Owen and Michael Jai, and kind of having this fun dynamic. And the one thing you don't get in a lot of action movies is you get the black sidekick, but you don't get the black sidekick, and then there's the action guy, but you don't get like the white sidekick who's funny and the serious action guy who actually happens to be a brother. So I wanted to kind of bring that dynamic of Gary and Michael together and have fun with it. A lot of people don't know that Michael Jai is actually really funny. Like, he's a fun guy. I compare him to like our Jackie Chan. Like, he does his own stunts. He's a great actor, and he's actually a fun guy. He's not so like serious all the time. So I wanted to bring that dynamic into the script. Just to, like, myself, I like to have fun. And I think it came across in not only the script, but the actors and the kind of the chemistry we created. And even some of the fight stuff, when you're telling a fight story in fights, sometimes the fights can be fun, not funny, but fun. And that was two important things in this movie, is that the fight scenes had to be dope, and we had to create some like fun characters, because no one wants to just watch hardcore action. I'm gonna kill you the whole time. You have to have fun with it so people can be engaged, and hopefully we did that.
Yeah, I mean, I was certainly chuckling a lot more than I expected to, especially with the little kids. Like, they were legit funny. So it was nice to just kind of see the dynamic with the characters and just appreciate what everyone was bringing to screen. So correct me if I'm wrong, this wrapped a year ago shooting, right? A year ago this month?
Yeah, we wrapped first week of September.
Okay. And how long?
We prepped in July, June, July. We shot the whole month of August and bled a little bit into September. And we shot in Winnipeg, Manitoba, which is right in the middle of Canada. They let us take over an actual sports arena. And we just really just had a blast last summer in production there, shooting it.
And so, were there any directing challenges that that you encountered during that year?
Yeah, I mean, there's all, directing is a challenge every day because it's all about, you're in charge, so you've got to sign off on everything,
Right.
From costumes to stunts to makeup to script changes, whatever. I had a very cool and very capable producer, Griff First, who really helped me with the challenges. But yeah, I mean, directing is problem solving and it's also storytelling. And I enjoy both. I enjoy problem solving and I enjoy storytelling. So for me, this was a new challenge because I had not directed an action movie before. But I knew if I surrounded myself with people who had stepped into this genre before, just like I did on my horror movie, surrounding myself with horror geeks, I kind of surrounded myself with action geeks on this. And together we made something that we were proud of.
Yeah, I mean, when thinking about Michael Jai, like he comes with his own sort of cult following, a lot of fans, and he to me was the perfect person to cast for this, that quintessential hero and villain action movie. The combination of Michael and Gary Owen, I thought was genius. And I'm looking forward to seeing, what the fans have to say about it. So it comes out tomorrow. It drops tomorrow on Tuesday, the 29th. What do you want people to know about this film?
Well, it's an interesting time, right? Because of everything that's happening. We're in the midst of a pandemic. We're in the midst of almost an election, a very important election. Please go vote. There's so much going on environment-wise and everything. So I think this movie is just a great escape. Just to go not think of anything for an hour and a half, just go have fun. We haven't had a brother in an action movie doing martial arts and saving the day for a few years. So that's a novelty in itself. I want people to just go take in the idea of a brother who saves his family and having that dynamic in a movie. We haven't seen that in a while. And just really just go, throw a bag of popcorn in the microwave and do a family night. But I really wanted to just make something that's fun and at the same time have a little bit of positivity. There's a little message sprinkled in there with the bad guy. And so, and also the idea of, which is very important, that there's a Black female billionaire in this named Diana Smart, played very nice and differently by Sabrin Rock. And she brings a little bit of a message to this movie as well. But it's really just to go have fun, take the family down to the living room for a little bit. We would have liked to have this in theaters, but right now Netflix is the perfect place to go to escape and just go have fun and watch this brother save the day.
I couldn't have said it better. Dallas, thank you so much for talking to blackfilm.com. Looking forward to the release tomorrow. I have already emailed and texted some of my martial arts fan friends, letting them know that this is going down tomorrow. So yeah, congrats on this movie.
Thank you. And big shout out to Charvis Campbell from Black Film for hooking us up, and HU, that's a Howard Connect, and my brother. And also big shout out to the RZA, who did the soundtrack for the movie, his record label, 36 Chambers. So the soundtrack drops tomorrow along with the movie, and you can get the soundtrack on iTunes along with the movie. It's on Netflix, YouTube, iTunes, Amazon. It's on everything digital. So go ahead and get that. Go have fun.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dallas.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime. All right.
Take care.
You too.